Hello, the people of Terra. Today we will be talking about the story of Mehjedtiqedti Pound. And as you can hear me, I will mess up the names. So please bear with me. Well, without further ado, let's get to it. Well, there is no specific mention in the records. Historians generally agree that Patishamala, most favored and tenuous, out of the three great nomadic cities that Sargon built for Minos, Sargonian and Minoan engineers took great pains to preserve its signature feature as the mountain dream garden when it was moved to a nomadic platform. Today you will see the same mountain and rivers as Kereseira once did. Upon entering Athenius, through the mountain pass that Padisha Mala made it a point to persevere. This is a route that I highly recommend my readers. Oh, shut up! Just look at where your stupid book has led us. A house cat and a feline of Sargon origins traverse across the green trees, journeying towards Minos for diplomatic relations. Diverging from the group they departed with, the feline Titi wanted to go across Kereseira's old route, only for them to be lost. Now they carry the most valuable item in Varjavandabat Museum's collection, something that is very bulky, with only the two of them. After a bit more bickering, they finally saw white walls, green fields, rivers sweeping through the mountains, a land separated from Sargon by a river, Athenius, the first polis, the mountain dream garden. They head down towards a ferryman that just docked, since the other places were chock full of people, and they are already running late. Mio, the cat, sensed that the ferryman had a vendetta against Sargonians, but they still decided to ride on his boat. The ferryman tells stories of the Minoan history and even throws in a remark at the Sargonians. Titi tries to calmly diffuse the situation. Perhaps there are Sargonians who understand and love Minoan culture. The last Sargonian who introduced herself with those words was the sister of Hansha, Mala, queen of the far shore. She burned every Minoan city but the three polis to the ground, closed the temples, banned the place, imported Sargonians and assimilated Minoan culture in every way possible. She brought the darkest age upon our country. Before she got to the thought, he felt the boat tipping and started to feel seasick. The ferryman then gives her an apple to ease the sickness before arriving at the dock shortly after. Titi immediately went to the hotel, plopped down on the smooth, comfy bed. When she woke up, it has been 3 hours. She then was greeted by Hecademos, a library that was supposed to guide her to the first temple. Along the way, they talk about history, but as soon as the clock hit 5 o'clock, he booked it out of the scene stage when his shift ended and gave her a general direction to the first temple. At the reconstruction of the first temple, Titi found the craftsman and the fruit farmer representative fighting on how to build the temple. Using a folklore, she made the two representatives fight each other in a hand wrestling competition. But the intention was hidden as she wanted them to hear each other's reasons instead of just screaming at each other's faces. The competition ended in a tie and forced both parties to meet in the middle. She solved a problem, but there was still one more, as the original proponent of the project, Pallas, went missing last night. They went to the dock where she was last seen. That's when Titi found a peculiar red pattern in a box of apples. They finally found Pallas in a box of apples, where she was muttering the solutions of the construction of the temple. Even in her sleep, she thought of the temple. Pallas and Titi went back to the construction site. They talked about the history of the temple, but Titi still felt reserved because of what the Sargonians did. Pallas reassures her that everything is fine and that these people can tell a bad shit from one. As they talk, Pallas kept giving her apple cider, but after a whole bottle, Titi starts to feel dizzy. Something's not right. Did you say this cider will help with my food sickness? I only seem to get dizzier and dizzier. Hey, whose dizziness beats water dizziness from? Drink until you pass out, and everything will be fine when you wake up the next morning, including a bit of food sickness. What? A vision started going dark. Tomorrow morning at the first temple, as the statue of Kereseira was completed, an idea popped into Titi's mind for an ideal venue for the exchange ceremony. but that idea was put on hold. But matters concerning Kereseira's first temple must be discussed with the temple priest. A priestess interrupted them because she wished to speak with Pallas alone. We meet at last, Your Excellency, Ambassador Mehjedtiqedti. I am the Astynomos of Athenias, called Lydia. I am overseeing this relic exchange between our two nations. Using this opportunity, Titi speaks of her ideas to the Astynomos to place the exchange ceremony beneath the statue of Kereseira instead of a closed space. Seeing her decisiveness and efficiency, Lydia the Astynomos nominated her as the supervisor for the final phase of the first temple rebuilding project. She is happy to hear that she may be able to be a part of the rebuilding project, but alas, because of her origins, she reserved herself to not accept. In which a fourth man with red eyes and tattoo on his hands interjects. He introduces himself as the ambassador of Corinthia, the land of merchants. Seeing the two at a stamp, he requests that a vote take place between the people involved in the rebuilding project if she could become a supervisor. Titi enjoys her time in the first temple, making new friends until night, where the voting for a position of the supervisor, in which everyone there was given an ostrakon, and write whether they are in favor or not of her being a supervisor. Titi was deep in thought, for she believed that she gained the trust of the people, but that was cut short. What a joke. Is this the year 1100? I thought maybe we were at the turn of the millennium, and the Sargonians has come back to rule us. The war is over, my gosh. For you, maybe. Not for me. The hated Sargonians continue to haunt me in my darkest dream. I wish I were as forgetful as you, but our heroes tell me in my dreams that I must not forget. The man tossed his ostrakon and left without saying anything more. Titi sees the scars that were left within the Minoan by the Sargonians. Even with sincerity alone, that scar would never heal. Titi curled up until the lights went out and no one was there, except for a certain cat. Mio consoled the feline by letting her pet his fur, giving her the courage to look at a few of the ostrakon. As she looks at them, she was beaming with happiness. Even though most strangers would not even look at her, some were willing to look past her race and see for who truly she is. The relic that Titi carried for the diplomatic relation is finally revealed. It was the harp that Kereseira lost. No one knows how it got into a Sargonian museum, but now it shall be brought back into its rightful place. Suddenly, an explosion was heard shaking the entire building. Downstairs, a boat crashed into the hotel kitchen stove, causing a fire in the first floor and smoke in the hotel. Titi and Pallas decided to leave the relic in the room and evacuate as the fire wasn't big enough to engulf the guest rooms. Outside, Titi bumped into a familiar family man rushing into the building. Realizing something weird is happening with Santos, Pallas and Titi follow him. They catch him stealing the harp. As he jumps out the window, they followed suit to the reverse, where Titi casts her ribbon shards to try grab the harp, only for it to be blocked by Santos. Now they are in a tipping boat, though the boat was dark. The fighting caused the boat to rock and the harp to be unsealed from its protection. It dropped to the ground, damaging it. Titi was able to subdue Santos and take him into custody. Though the harp was dropped, the damage was minimal, for only the pedestal was cracked. A little pain and feeling should do the trick. Fixing the crack, Titi felt something was off with the harp. She tested the crack in a lab and found that the wood was in Sargonian that dates back 100 years ago, rendering it a fake. Anyway, overhearing this, the other ambassador that came with Titi pressures her to keep doing the exchange ceremony, even if the harp is a fake. Using it as a leverage, he usurps her power as an ambassador. Now he puts both Santos and his apprentice into death row. Titi invites Pallas there. Titi talks about how the harp is a fake, and yet she cannot say it to dominant should it create conflict rather than truth. She devises a plan to steal said harp before the ceremony can start with the help of Pallas. They devised a plan to steal the harp during the ceremony where it is open to the public. But what comes next? I want to know what will happen to you. Me? I'll take the fake harp and Mio and live via the ancient route. Can go back to Might, but the Kereseira would definitely chase me across the entire city. If I really do get caught, then it doesn't matter if it's by Penny or by the Harry. Neither one would most likely eliminate any inconvenient evidence than push the blame onto Minos. I'll have to keep running. Only then would Sargon the lofty numbers do not dare look too deeply into this burglary without authorization. What I will carry away with me is not just a fake harp, but the truth as well. Pallas leaves the villain alone, wishing that it could have gone differently. Once she leaves, Titi leans on a seat at the plaza, gazing at the night sky. It reminds her of her father, who used to tell stories of Minoan heroes and their associate stars. Alas, the illness of the land took him prematurely. Once she got back to the hotel, she was greeted by Mio, who was worried about her coming back late. Mio thinks that her plan is not the best way to do things, but it is her way of doing things. Remembering their time with Pepe, and the fact that she chose the ancient route instead of the normal one, and the fact that she chose to carry the relic alone, even though it was a pain. Every idea she has is one that sacrifices herself, but Mio words made Titi even more sure that what she's doing is the right thing. Cassandra, a head priestess of the Endymion temple, overheard the situation and asked Titi to come follow her, with Mio chasing after them. She was led to a burdened beach pasture where she brushes a corner of the fence, revealing the true harp of Kereseira, wheeled onto the fence filled with hoofprints and bite marks from nearby burden beasts. You carry the harp of Kereseira. Counterfeit though it may be, it has appeared in Athenians. This can only be an omen. The events of the past few days stand as proof, but what is most important is your character. It is because it is you and not your fellow countrymen that I expect your spirit to resonate with the harp. First, try singing heroic odes to it. Try playing it. Give your heart to it and speak to it. And perhaps you really will be able to make it sing and bring about a miracle. Saying her piece, she left Titi with her harp waiting. She tries to play it, but it just makes a horrid sound. She tries to find the problem long into the night, promising to fix the harp instead of stealing the fake one. Eventually, fatigue catches her, and she falls asleep in the middle of the field. The moonlight caressing her face and the blade grass becoming her bed. Mia watches her sleeping when a tear falls down from her eye, becoming nutrients for the grass. He took a picture. Explained, nothing interesting about a crying girl. Forget it. I'll have you as a crybaby. Call it payback. For the free meals these past few days. You wanted a miracle, right? Easy as Profelpi replied. In the morning, she was woken up by Mio. The harp is gone. A huge commotion was going on at the square. She saw herds of burden beasts going somewhere, and she followed suit only to find out that the burden beast had carried the true harp to the square. She then meets Pallas after the true harp is found, and they need to decide on a play for the ceremony. Titi requests that the play be Kereseira and the Outlander. The play that was banned during Sargonian occupation. The play that no one wants to play because the Minoan doesn't want to be the Sargonian Outlander. Kereseira also requests to have her play the role of the Outlander. Though Pallas was hesitant, Titi's words was resolute. I thought long and hard about it last night, and realized that this was my responsibility as a Sargonian, here and now. During the play, Pallas played the role of Kereseira, while Titi played the role of the Outlander. At the most important moment, Pallas was given an execution dagger by the soldiers to kill the last Outlander and pay for their crime. The crowd chant, "Kill her! Make the infectors pay!" The dagger reflects the light of the sun as she was about to stab her. Despicable, disgrace. Have you no pride, Minoans? Have you no honor? Have you no heroic spirit? He silenced the room, then he looked at the two above the stage. I lost my home and my dearest friend in the world. I followed in his track and saw countless of our own at that store along the way. The dreams we once had were trampled underfoot by the invaders, never to be rebuilt. Why, I asked the invader, did you set foot on this land that did not belong to you? And what makes you think you can seamlessly come to Athenius just a few years after the truce, acting like nothing ever happened? Titi opens her mouth, unable to utter a word. Pallas lowers her dagger. Santos puts a question for the crowd. My people, I am surprised how quickly you forget. Did a century of colonization and oppression leave nothing behind in your hearts? The Sarconians destroyed our homes and cities, distorted our culture, and extinguished our language. Is this memory not enough for you to be on guard against the Sarconians? How could you cast the past aside? How dare you continue to deal with them? Culture, exchange, fine words. They're not just taking technical data from the construction of the Tripolis, but the blood and sweat that we shed when we built them. They're taking away evidence of their crimes, rewriting history, creating an illusion of Sarconians' friendship to wipe away the memory. All of you are accomplices and accessories. All is silent, except for one Sarconian villain. I can see the frustration and yearning in your eyes. You want to cross swords with the Sarconians, face to face. This is your heroic spirit. Here is your chance. Come, as a Sarconian, I owe you this battle. The sound of something hitting the skin was heard. Blood can be seen dripping from Santos' chest. He cannot stand up straight anymore as the loss of blood had impaired his body. Everyone on stage heard the sound of a harp from who knows where when all of a sudden they were watching a Minoan captive in the Sarconian camp. Instead of the Sarconian guard interrogating the captive, he instead asked for legends, stories, folklore of the Minoan. The guard seems to enjoy the stories and writes them down. After hundreds of stories, the captive starts to make his own story. On a particular night, the guard left a crack open, giving opportunity to the prisoner to escape. Looking back, he saw the guard wearing heavy armor, fatigue. Was it by chance the man escaped, or was it intentional? The guard was Titi's father. The vision that was shown to the three of them caused them to have a heart-to-heart. Titi didn't come because of the Padishah, but instead of her own free will. Frankly, I don't really care about doing the make your name proud. I came because I wanted to see this land that I've always been fascinated by, with my own eyes, to chase the legends that I've only heard about, or perhaps I wanted to find some answer about my father. What is this land of heroes that father talked about really like, and what is the heroic spirit really like? I wanted to learn, to find out. That's why I came to Minos. For Pallas, she found out what a hero is when she left Minos, where she was at a bar talking with a fan of the Blood Knight. A hero for the infected. Traditions don't stay unchanged forever, Santos. The stories of the heroes define and shape who we are. Yet, because heroes arise from among us, we in turn possess that power to define them and to reshape what it means to be a hero. I learned that after I left Minos. The sound of the harp keeps playing, changing scene after scene for them. To outsiders, the blood that splattered from Santos to the statue harp, it begins to make a sound, while the three on stage was in a trance. Only when Santos slammed down did it break from their trance. The two tries to help him get up, while the sound of the harp echoes throughout the square to the sky. After the exchange ceremony, Titi has completed her assignment and gone back to Sargon, ferried by Santos, and now she is even called an honorary Minoan, while Santos will wait for the verdict that is waiting for him. In the meantime, Pallas gonna go through all of the temple rebuilding projects. Howdy everybody, Keter here. I just wanna say thank you for all of those who watched the video, and I just want to say that I am sorry that I fucked up most of the names probably. Well, that's all that I have to say. Thank you and good night, the people of Terra.